What's up, guys? Tonight I'm going to show you how I amped up my Lego Batmobile right here with Light My Bricks. Check it out. Looks pretty dope, right? Hang out with me and I'm going to show you how I put this light kit in this Lego Batmobile and my overall thoughts at the end. So stay tuned. Before we get started with the build, let's talk about what you get when you place this order. First thing you get is this box right here. It says Light My Bricks. There's a sticker at the very top here. It says 1989 Batmobile 76139 light kit. And that's just to let you know that you got the right light kit. This comes in a black box. This is not unlike the one that I got for the Millennium Falcon. Very similar to the box style that I received my San Diego Comic-Con press badges for. So that's really neat. On the back it says bring your Legos to life with lights, and that's what we're going to do today. So when you pop this guy open, first thing that you get is the user guide, and the user guide shows you basically the different types of style of lights that could be included in your kit, and it gives you some optional power options that you can pick up. You also have some instructions on basic routing of the lights and so forth. No instructions on actually how to put it together with the Batmobile. There is actually, you go to a website and that's where you get those instructions. It says it's time to light up, right? It's got some website information right there, which I'll leave in the link in the description below so you guys can get to the website if you're interested in doing this yourself. You're gonna get one warm light 30 centimeter, a large bit light. You got a red 30 centimeter bit light. We got a cool white 30 centimeter, white 15 centimeter. You got a lighting component kit. You got some more light component kits. You got another wiring, and then you got the battery pack that everything connects to. And that's it. That's what comes in this box. Additionally, you can also get this USB plug, which you can route in here, and then that will allow you to connect to a power supply rather than battery. So if you wanted to take and plug it into, like, say, a smart switch, which is what I'm going to do, and then when you walk in the room, you could just have the switch turn on and turn on the lights to your vehicle. And then you also get a sticker that says Light My Bricks. And that's it. So let's get to it. All right, so let's get started on the build. As you can see, I'm already turning the Batmobile on its side. And just to let you guys know, it's going to get on its side a lot during this build. Now, if you're looking for instructions on how to do this, you're going to go head over to lightmybricks.com. There's an instructions page there. So basically you go there and you look up your kit, and then you'll find instructions on what to do. So like I was going on before, the Batmobile ends up on its side a lot, and it's nerve-wracking for me. It's because every time I go to flip it on its side, I'm fearful that something's going to fall off, and part did fall off, and I don't know where it goes. So it's just going to be, over engineering, I guess. But yeah, and the lights themselves, putting on the headlights was probably the most complicated part of the build, in my opinion. It was very difficult to route the wires in through and past the wheel well, and the little lights at the front kept falling off every time I would tug at the wire. The instructions state to thread the wire, so it makes it easier for you to get in through the holes inside of the wheel well. And that does work well for that, but when you're trying to place the plate back down onto the bricks, it makes it very difficult to clamp down, so it feels kind of loose. So I would suggest to thread the wire, maybe give yourself about a few inches or so of space before you actually start threading. So that way that the wires remain thin inside of the actual light housing itself, and then it'll make it easier for you to put all the parts back down. I found that out when I was actually putting together the second light set on it. So yeah, other than that, once you get past this part of it, everything else is kind of a lot easier than the headlights. So if you start at this part and you're getting discouraged, just push through it and you'll get past it. So at this point, I'm getting the lights working. As you can see, those headlights are really bright. I really like the way the lights came out on this kit. It was very good. Yeah, so now you're taking out the center section there, the I guess the turbine, I guess is what that is. Now I don't remember in the movie there actually being a light behind there, but the light effect that they put on this I think is really neat. It almost makes it seem like the engine's firing when it gets ready, so I'll show you that here in just a few. There it is, you can see the engine firing, and it has like a flickering turning effect to it, so it really makes it look like the engine itself is turning over, and I think that's really neat. All right, next step after that is taking the turrets out and adding lights to that. This was fairly simple. I did something similar to this when I was building the Millennium Falcon, so this really wasn't overly complicated. You just route the wires inside of those tubes right there that you see on the table, and then you take and route the wires down into the lower section of the chassis and out through the bottom. Now those wires are very tiny, and where you actually have to route it is tight. So this part here, you got to kind of just keep playing with the wire until it pops out through the bottom. And again back on its side. So now what I'm doing here is I'm running a long wire from the front plate there, the switchboard, all the way to the back of the trunk, and that's where you're going to connect the battery ultimately. And I did say that when I was building the Batmobile in my review after I did the build, that it was really cool of Lego to create a trunk space like that, and it almost seemed like they had the foresight that, you know, us Lego builders would want to add lighting effects to this. All right, so now what I'm doing right here is I'm wiring the lights for the cockpit. Now this was the only section of the build that I had a trouble with. There's a switch actually that gets routed all the way to the front, and again the threading of the wires causes the wire to be thicker, which makes it hard for the brick to come back down and land the way it's supposed to. So you got to try to keep it thin in the areas where it goes under one of the Legos. But once you get the wires routed and you connect it to the battery, the light in the cockpit is very bright. Now the problem I had here was with the switch. Now the switch is very strong, and it wants to push the canopy forward, which makes it turn on, and you want it to be able to turn off, and it just doesn't seem to want to hold sometimes. So that was one problem that I ran into. I contacted Light My Bricks to find out if there's any solution to that. It just feels like the switch needs a softer spring. You know, it doesn't need to have such a forceful push forward. All right, so now you get use of that box. So I didn't know if I said this earlier in the video, but don't throw away the box that this comes in until after you get done with the build. I wouldn't throw away the box at all. It's pretty nice actually, but it works very well to prop the Batmobile up, as you're going to need to do this for the final section build where you put the tail lights in and the engine lights. So the wiring's fairly simple here. There's not really much to go to, but there's so much that has to be taken off the back end that it was nerve-wracking for me. And I just had all these pieces, and I'm freaking out. You know, I'm like, man, it took me so long to put this all together and tearing it apart here. But bear with me, when you get it all together, it actually looks really good. All right, and there's the tail lights. Like I said, very bright, looks good. And now I'm working on the actual engine fire that they have. It's really nice flicker effect that it gets when you put the lights in. Right, and that's all there is to it. As you can see, I've changed clothes because I actually had to go to bed last night after I finished putting this one together. After about 5 hours and almost 1 o'clock in the morning when I got done. Yeah, man, I was tired. So I wanted to be able to come back and be able to talk to you with some enthusiasm about this. this was a very awesome build. It's also very difficult, in my opinion, in comparison to the Millennium Falcon. This is my second, like I stated, my second assembly of one of the light kits. The instructions were on point. They, go very detailed with pictures and everything to let you know exactly what you need to do to get the job done. So I think they did a great job about telling you what to do, but it's still a very difficult build because of the complexity of the Batmobile. It's very sturdy, lots of small little areas that you can barely fit your fingers into, make it very difficult to run the wires all the way back to the trunk where you have the battery or where you're gonna put your power supply. So that's one thing. As far as the lights go, I feel that the intensity of the lights is fantastic. It's very bright. I really like the way that came out. It looks really, really good. Love the way the tail lights look. The back end looks really good, especially the flames and all that. It's very cool. Also love the way the guns fire at the front. I think that looks really good. Although I wish that they would fire at the exact same time. There was no setting on the device they give you to control that allows you to do that. So this is about the best you're gonna get as far as firing. So it's the only way they could do. The only thing that I'm not too happy with, I'm a little disappointed about right now, is that one, the canopy cover for the cockpit doesn't completely close all the way anymore. Like with this switch that it has here, it sticks out far enough, and you have to have this thing sticking out pretty far, at least right now. I contacted them to find out if this is exactly what it was supposed to be, but it has to stick out to the point that there's almost like a ½ inch to maybe a ¼ inch to a ½ inch of a gap now where the canopy doesn't close all the way, just to keep the light from turning on. Otherwise, if you push this too far back, the canopy doesn't lock into place, so the switch kind of pushes the canopy forward, triggering the light. And that kind of happens even if you move, or I don't know, see, if I move it, it turns it on, because then this pulls a little bit forward. So overall, I'm very, very pleased with the way this came out. I really can't suggest these guys enough. If you like collecting Legos and you have these vehicles like this, they do Star Wars light kits. They have the light kit now for the Batmobile, and they have several other things. They even have do-it-yourself light kits. So if you have a Lego set that you want to light up, you should check them out and see what they got. You might get some ideas on how to light your kit. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me for another Lego video. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up on the way out. Hit that subscribe button. Ding that bell to get notified if you like videos like this, as I do Lego builds somewhat often, not crazily, but I do a lot of different other videos as well. Me and Seth, we do all kinds of stuff, everything from Funko Pop hunts, figure reviews, statue reviews, and all kinds of things in between, including Legos. So if you guys enjoyed this, hit that notification bell so that you can be notified when I come out with another video like this. Otherwise, guys, thank you for joining me, and keep it marvelous.